It started as a quiet life behind closed doors, a seemingly perfect marriage, friends who envied their bond, and a love story that everyone admired. But hidden beneath the smiles and dinners were secrets that no one could imagine. One affair, one betrayal, and a life meant for love spiraled into betrayal, violence, and murder. Tonight, we uncover the scandal that shook a family and left a community in shock. Jessica and Daniel were the kind of couple that appeared to have it all. Married for 8 years, they lived in a suburban neighborhood where everyone knew each other. Daniel worked as a financial consultant, meticulous in both his work and his public life. Jessica was a vibrant social woman, active in community events and charity work. Friends often described them as the perfect couple, a model of modern marriage. But as often happens, appearances can be deceiving. Behind closed doors, their relationship was far from perfect. Arguments were frequent, tensions simmered under the surface, and both hid parts of their lives from each other. The first cracks in the marriage became noticeable when Daniel started working longer hours, claiming stress at work. Jessica, feeling lonely and ignored, began to seek comfort elsewhere. That's when Mark entered the picture. A charming man, attentive, and seemingly understanding in ways Daniel no longer was. Their initial encounters were innocent, casual, coffee dates, short lunches, and harmless chats that slowly turned into something more. Jessica convinced herself it was just emotional support. But soon, the line between emotional support and betrayal was crossed. Daniel, oblivious at first, began noticing subtle changes in Jessica. Texts that she quickly hid, sudden absences, and defensiveness when questioned. Friends also noticed her distracted behavior. Yet, Daniel was busy, trusting that nothing serious was happening. By the time the truth began to surface, the affair had already grown more intense than either of them realized. It happened one evening when Daniel came home early from work. A misplaced message on Jessica's phone revealed everything: a flirtatious exchange, plans to meet secretly, and words that could not be ignored. Daniel confronted Jessica immediately. The argument escalated quickly. Emotions ran high, accusations were hurled, and the house, once a symbol of peace, turned into a battlefield. Friends later recalled hearing raised voices that night, though no one could imagine what was about to unfold. The confrontation didn't end with apologies or forgiveness. Both were angry, hurt, and desperate. The psychological toll of betrayal weighed heavily on Daniel. It was a breaking point. As arguments continued, Daniel's behavior became increasingly erratic. Friends noticed a change in his demeanor, though few understood the depth of his turmoil. Meanwhile, Jessica remained defiant, feeling justified in her actions, yet fearful of Daniel's growing suspicion and anger. Over the next few weeks, tensions reached a dangerous level. Daniel obsessively tracked Jessica's movements, installing security cameras, checking her phone, and documenting every interaction. What had started as hurt and anger turned into a calculated fixation. Jessica, on the other hand, was aware that Daniel suspected something but underestimated how far he was willing to go. Both lives were now caught in a web of deceit, fear, and hidden intentions. The tragic night arrived unexpectedly. What began as another argument escalated into a confrontation that neither could control. In the heat of the moment, words turned into actions. Daniel, blinded by betrayal, reached for an object in a fit of rage. Neighbors later reported hearing a loud crash, followed by screams echoing through the street. By the time authorities arrived, it was too late. Jessica lay dead, and Daniel sat nearby, disoriented and shaking, fully aware of what had transpired. Police quickly arrived at the scene. Evidence, phone records, and witness accounts painted a clear picture of the events leading up to the tragedy. Investigators found signs of the affair, heated arguments, and escalating tension, confirming the narrative that led to murder. Friends and family were shocked. How could a seemingly perfect marriage unravel so violently? Psychologists later pointed out that betrayal, unchecked anger, and lack of emotional coping mechanisms often result in tragic outcomes like this one. Daniel's trial became a national sensation. Media outlets covered the scandal extensively, focusing on the secret affair, the betrayal, and the shocking murder. Legal teams argued over intent, provocation, and mental state. Ultimately, the court had to decide whether this act was premeditated or a crime of passion. Testimonies from friends, co-workers, and psychologists painted a complex picture of a man pushed to the brink and a woman whose choices set the stage for disaster. The verdict left the community divided. Some sympathized with Daniel, citing the emotional trauma of betrayal. Others condemned him for taking a life in a moment of anger. Family members mourned Jessica while grappling with the difficult truth about the affair that led to her death. This tragedy serves as a stark reminder of how hidden secrets, unchecked emotions, and human frailty can combine to create devastating consequences. What began as a scandalous affair ended in a life lost, leaving an entire community haunted by the story. Stories like Jessica and Daniel's are rare but illuminating. They reveal the dangers of deception, the importance of communication, and the destructive potential of unaddressed anger. Experts often emphasize that seeking help, therapy, and honest dialogue can prevent conflicts from escalating into irreparable tragedies. Trust, respect, and transparency in relationships are not just ideals, they are essential for survival. When these are broken, the consequences can be catastrophic. The scandal in this marriage was more than an affair. It was a sequence of choices that led to an irreversible act. The secret that started as a hidden relationship ultimately destroyed lives, families, and the sense of security that friends and neighbors once felt. Tonight, as we look back, we are reminded that appearances are deceptive, emotions can be volatile, and one moment of betrayal can change everything. This story is a cautionary tale, a haunting example of love, betrayal, and murder.